And thanks, Tiffany. Welcome everybody to 2023 Team Tech Training. I'd like to thank Tiffany for setting up this meeting and getting the rules up on the MSHA website. Also Erica Warren for collecting the rules and getting more to Tiffany and getting the word out about the meeting here. We have several people on the committees that wanted to thank. The advisory committee chairs, Kenny Murray and Brian Millington. Thank you guys for riding herding on everybody. For Team Tech, the co-chairs, Chris Williams and Clancy Harmon, and hopefully we'll hear from them in a few minutes here. And if anyone has any questions, we monitor the chat feature on WebEx, and you can put your questions in chat, or if you want to speak up, we can always answer the questions from there. With that, I think we're ready to go. So if Chris or Clancy is on the line here, you can take over.
All right, Chris, should I share the PowerPoint?
Yes, go ahead and share the
Okay.
PowerPoint. Is Craig Plumley got online yet?
Yeah, Chris,
I
I'm
believe
on.
he
I'm on
is.
here. I'm on here,
Okay.
Chris.
Okay, Craig, go ahead and go through it, buddy.
All right, let me just get situated with all these panels up here. All right, hopefully everyone can see that.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
All right. So as Chris said, this is Craig Plumley. Was going to give Chris a chance to jump in there for a minute, but we've got the Team Tech rules. They're available on the website now. There was no changes in the rules from 21. So rather than sit and go through the whole the whole rules packet, I've just put together a little PowerPoint, since this is kind of a new competition, to just kind of give a summary of the rules that we'll go through here. A little short PowerPoint, and then when we get done, if there's any questions, we'll be glad to take them. If you would, Tiffany, go to the next slide. So this Team Tech contest, it's going to consist of 2 team members. They're going to work together or individually on a simulated mine rescue field. Team will be preparing or repairing or calibrating a multi-gas detector to have it ready for use. Team will take air quantity measurements. They'll be using an anemometer, smoke tube, and then they'll use Magnehelic to check pressure differentials. Air quantity or air quality measurements will be taken for an unknown gas mixture that the contest will provide, and the team will have to determine the O2, methane, CO, and NO2 quantities. Okay, next. So under the general rules, pages 2 through 5 of those rules, again, there'll be 2 team members on each team. They'll be drawn from the 8-person mine rescue team. You can have multiple teams from the same mine rescue team, and they'll need to designate one of those teams that will be used for the combination award. You need to designate that at the time of registration, and then the teams that all the teams that want to participate in the Team Tech competition will be judged, whether they're representing the mine rescue team or not. The tech team will provide at least 1 multi-gas instrument, an anemometer, Magnehelic gauge, smoke tube set with aspirator bulb for checking their quantity and quality measurements. The multi-gas instrument that's going to be benched will be provided by the contest, along with the tools and equipment and supplies necessary to complete the problem. There's a 30-minute time limit with a 5-minute warning before the time expires. And the team will be scored based on their appropriate discounts and items missed or necessary actions not taken. Okay, next. Written exam, that'll be administered during the isolation. There'll be 15 multiple choice questions, and those are taken from the Module 2 mine gases and Module 3 mine ventilation of the draft IG 115. There'll also be questions that may come from page 10 of the general rules. That's operation of that MX6 hybrid. I was going to point out too, the team members, you're only going to be tested on procedures for the MX6 hybrid. That option for the Draeger 8000, it's not yet MSHA approved. So even though it's in the rules, if it becomes approved someday, it's not approved at this point. But there's a 20-minute time limit for the written exam, and you can't bring any written materials or information into the test area. Next. It's just a diagram showing the layout of the field. The diagram on the right shows just a typical mine intersection. There's typically going to be 2 tables there, one for the multi-gas instrument and the calibration of that unit and the air quality measurements, and then another table for calculate for doing the actual calculations, place for the contestant to work. And there's typically going to be air directions and a stopping that may have a door or regulator in it for a magnehelic check. Next. So the rule pages 8 through 11 are the multi-gas detector rules. The multi-gas instrument that's going to be benched will be provided by the contest along with the tools and supplies needed. The multi-gas instrument or instruments given to the team will have multiple bugs or problems that must be repaired. Repair all the deficiencies and calibrate or bump test the instrument, and then check for proper action level alarm set points. And those alarm set points are in that little chart there below. Those alarm checkpoints are also in the questions and answers. That's location to find those. Okay, next, please. The multi-gas instrument given the team must be fully assembled, operational, and properly configured to be considered ready for use. Means left on and the peaks cleared. The team will also be required to bring a multi-gas instrument that's compliant with 49.6 and 49.16, along with a calibration hood. You need to bring that to the field. That's to allow them to be able to connect to a gas cylinder and determine an unknown mixture of the gas that's in that cylinder. Team will be expected to sample what we're calling the gas box and report the concentrations within the acceptable limits. And those acceptable limits are listed here below. The O2 concentration has to be plus or minus 0.5%. Methane's got to be within 0.2%. CO concentration plus or minus 10%, and then the NO2 concentration plus or minus 3 parts per million. And there's a 15 gas that's not determined properly. Next. In the air measurement rules, pages 12 to 16, the team has to demonstrate proficiency with multiple instruments. They got to take proper air readings and air measurements, and then provide an explanation of the process as they do it. So the anemometer, as they take an air measurement with an anemometer and smoke tubes. With the magnehelic, they have to explain how are being taken, and you're not actually measuring a volume there, but you are measuring a pressure differential. And then there'll be error calculation worksheets that's provided by the contest, and that will be returned to the judges once you're completed. There's a correction chart that's in the rules, and that should be provided to the team as well. The team will simulate the proper procedure for taking the air readings and air measurements, and then the judges will give the team the area measurements and the air reading that they need to calculate. It says velocity there, should be to calculate the volume. This is the sheet that's in the rules. This is a calculation sheet. This one's for the smoke tube. Just got the 4 quadrants that you're going to take your measurements. The location for the area that you're given, and then sorry, my phones are ringing. And lastly, a means to calculate your volume. And then this is what it looks like for the anemometer and magnehelic recordings. For anemometer, you'll read the anemometer with the correction factor with that chart that you'll be given, and then the area given the width and the height measurements, then you'll calculate the area and determine the volume from that. And then for the magnehelic gauge, you'll typically either be given a picture of a mag that's got a reading on it that you're going to identify what the reading is, and then identify whether it's a positive or negative reading. I think that's the last page, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a good contest. The idea is to prepare the teams for a real mine emergency where you're going to be having to prepare the MX6 for air measurements and for getting quality measurements, I'd say, and being able to bench it and find problems with it and have it ready for a mine rescue team to use, and be able to take air readings and be as accurate as possible. That's the goal here. Hopefully you've been involved in this competition at some of the contests, and I've got just positive feedback. I guess hopefully that's a good sign. So I guess at this point, I'll ask if there's any questions or anything that anybody wants to comment on.
There is a question in the chat.
Okay.
And that question is, have you considered making statement of facts for tech team?
As a committee, we've not discussed it. The information, as I said, where it's available is in the IG 115, and the instructions for that hybrid. It's in page 10 of the rules, but no, we haven't discussed it. It may be something we need to consider if the other competitions are going to that.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Craig,
Yeah.
on that first page you had there, you talked about the combination. That's for metal and non-metal, right? They use Team Tech as part of their combination. It's
They
code.
do.
Okay, that's just for Team Tech. Code still just first aid and mine rescue, right?
I do believe that's true. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, hey, Bull, we started to do that, and then we kind of backed off that and put it back, kind of coal like it always was, and metal, non-metal, kept it like they've always had it on that.
Okay, I seen where it's in combination. I was just going to make sure we didn't change it for the code side too. But that's all I needed. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I have another question in the chat. The question is, will the magnehelic be required to be zeroed?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks, Craig. That yeah, wraps up Team Tech. Seems like it's pretty straightforward.
I appreciate you, Craig, doing that. Good job on that, buddy. You know, you was talking about good feedback. I've got a lot of good feedback, and I know our guys enjoyed doing it. I kind of didn't know how it would go on Cole's side, but everything I've got has been good feedback, and they're learning. They're learning some things on that. So it's been good. It's been a good contest. It's a, you know, I think the guys will keep learning from it as more they do it.
Yeah, I
Heard a lot
agree.
of good things about that team.
Learned a lot more about the MX6.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
All right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up then. So, appreciate your
We-
time.
We do have one last question if you have time to answer it.
Okay, sure.
Okay. It says, will we only be tested over IG 115, even in competitions testing over IG6 modules?
The rules specify the IG 115. So I would say yes, that's true.
Yes, I think it's just what was stated in the rules. You're right.
Yep.
All righty.
All
Well,
right.
thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Make sure you get your attendance sheets in. We'll be picking up with bench at 2:00. So if you're interested in bench, please tune in for that. Thanks again, Tiffany.
No problem. I will stop the recording now and we will be back this afternoon at, what is it, 2 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.